It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's weekly Torah lesson. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha Bereishit. The question of the week is, what is the best way to go to Isreal? So in this week's Torah portion, right in the beginning, the Torah begins, Bereishit bara Elokim, beginning God created the heaven and the earth. So Rashi right away asks the question, whoa, you're talking about creation, heaven and earth. The Torah was given for the Jewish people. Let's talk about the first mitzvah, which is setting up the calendar. Why start with creation of a physical, materialistic world? So Rashi says, the reason is so that when God gives the land of Israel, and people are going to say, what do you mean? Why do you have the land of Israel? And our response is, well, God created the whole world, and He's entitled to give anyone He wants a present. So the Rebbe asks, okay, so for that reason, you're not going to start the Torah with the first mitzvah that we're given to the Jewish people? And grant you, if you want to address that issue, you can address it later on in the Torah. It doesn't have to be the beginning of the Torah. So the Rebbe explains that actually, the question is a deeper question. The question is, why does the Torah start with the creation when seemingly to start with a mitzvah? In other words, we know there's the world, the physical world, and then there's Torah and mitzvot. Our relationship with God is Torah and mitzvot. So to start with Torah and mitzvot, not necessarily with the physical creation of the world. So the Rebbe explains as follows. Based on the story of the Tzemach Tzedek, where someone once came to the Tzemach Tzedek and they said they wanted to go to the land of Israel. And they were having a hard time going, they couldn't go. So the Rebbe said to them, 1 second, true you want to go to the land of Israel, and that's a nice thing to do, but sometimes you can't go. But what is really the land of Israel? Land of Israel in Hebrew is called Eretz Yisrael. Eretz comes from the word of Ratzon, the will of Yisrael, of God. So in other words, what is Eretz Yisrael spiritually? Doing the will of Hashem. So wherever you are, you can do the will of Hashem. You don't necessarily have to be geographically in Israel. Now obviously it's nice to be there, and we should try to be there. But if you can't, that shouldn't stop you from doing the will of Hashem. So in other words, what do you see from the story? That the goal is that every single part of the world should be filled with the Ratzon Hashem. True, and when you study Torah and you pray and you do mitzvot, that you're doing God's will. But the point of Bereishit bara Elokim is to tell you that God created the heaven and the earth, and anywhere in the heaven and the earth you can bring the will of Hashem anywhere and everywhere. So the answer to the question, what's the quickest way to go to Israel? Start doing the will of Hashem. And as long as you're doing the will of Hashem, you will be spiritually in the land of Israel. This week's Torah lesson is in memory of Baruch ben Aryeh Leib and Shlomo ben Yosef. May their souls be elevated by the Torah we're studying in their memory. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Torah lesson. For more information, please see our website.